Right, here we go. Gunpar's Workshop, Tool Haul Tuesday. A new series starting now. While I've been off with things happening outside the workshop, things didn't stand still. I've not done a lot other than going on that box making course. So, in the meantime, I've been steadily accumulating stuff that I think I need going forward, so it's about time we did a little show and tell. So I'll show this as we go. You've already seen the trend mortise and tenon jig. That's still not out of its box yet, because I'm going to have a standalone mobile work table to have that on, along with the routers and a little dovetail jig to make with the routers. So that's going on a 2-foot square table on legs. You'll see me make that. That's my next workshop project, to put the mortise and tenon jig on, permanently on. And I shall be using 2 of the Trend T7s. You've already seen one. I think you've seen in the background, I bought a second one, a Trend router pad, which seems a bit of a nothing actually, but basically, if I take the caps off, it's a horseshoe shaped stand that fits on rubber feet that you can plonk the router on while you've got the bit in. If you have a bit that stands proud of the base plate while you're working on it, you can just set it aside without dismantling anything or having it on its side and risk catching the bit as you're passing. So I shall have 2 on that table, and my big blue dust extractor will sit underneath, and that'll be the trolley that moves it all round. To go with that, I have a load of router bits, but I've got a set specifically to go with the mortise and tenon jig. It's a 5-piece set, long reach cutters with a 1/2-inch shank, so they're beefy enough, and 2 of those will go on the 2 separate routers, because unless you're willing to keep changing the bits between the mortise and tenon, it's more time effective to have 2 routers set up, one with each collet and bit to do the mortise hole and then the tenon, if you know what I mean. That's that. More mitre fast from the Amazon man. Where's it gone? I don't know. Oh, what I have picked up is a very nice couple of chinois squares. So I've got the precision square with the adjustable base. So that's 6" or 150mm by 3" or 75, with measures both on the outside, from the outside corner, and from the inside, where you can see the little notch to get an accurate zeroing in for your 1/2mm propelling pencil when you're marking things out. The base you can slide up and down, so you can do a running line at a set depth on the face or an edge piece of wood. And it's also got, I keep forgetting what you call that. Can you see that there's an extra set of measurements that give you accuracy down to 1/10 of a millimetre on your measurements? What's it called? Somebody will put it in the comments for me. So that's the precision from Chinois. I've also got a little 75mm or 3" engineer square, very solid, very nice. Just the right size for squaring up the bandsaw and table saw blades at 90 degrees, and also for checking the square of the inside of small boxes. Thinking ahead. That's covered in grease at the moment, and that's going to end up, I think, on the magnetic tray that's currently stuck to the bandsaw, or else I'll never find it. So that's that. Another one, I shall show these. And you see, it is a Richard Kell bevel gauge in brass, nice and shiny, all ready to go in my treasures box. What's this for? Well, it gives you, let's have a look, it allows you to measure by pushing your that's at 15 degrees. So you chisel or your plane blade, you can accurately check your degrees all the way through from 15 all the way through to 60 degrees for plane blades, and then 120 degrees for the end of your drill bits. So that's a handy piece of reference rather than trying to work out what something like that is with my poor eyesight. So that's that. Another one in the line of trend. This is your quick release drill system that does the automatic centering for drilling the holes for hinges. You have your hinge placed in your little routed out bit, and then instead of marking the middle of the hole through the hinge and then trusting to drill in an exact spot, and they never, they're always off to one side, and you end up with screw heads that are slightly out of alignment. Well, that has an end that just fits into the indentation into the screw hole on the hinge, and then plunges the drill through, and that comes in 3 sizes, number 6, number 8 and number 10 for 2.4, 2.8 and 3.6 millimetre screws. So that's a good start. Now the next one, which is these two you can see at the background, I'm aiming, as well as working on all the big pieces of machinery, to create a small toolbox to complement this box. This box is going to be for all my small and fragile treasures, and my collectible treasures are going in there, but I'm going to create a box, a minimalist hand tool chest on the lines of this or this or this. So I'm looking to have a minimum kit for hand tools, a bit like a heritage treasure box for the kids after I'm gone, and for me to play with and look at and go, ooh, 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 isn't that pretty? In the meantime, so the first things I've got, I was chasing these for months, and you see, it is a Quansheng low angle block plane. Now I've had it out of the box and I'm really pleased with it. A lot of the YouTubers I've been following have been using these, and I found it handy on that last box making course. So I decided on a minimal set of planes. Now I was tempted to chase after the refurbished old Stanleys and do what a couple of you guys have done, and have a plane tool on the wall with everything from a number 3 to a number 8 jointing plane. I'm not going to use them, so what's the minimum number of hand planes you need? That's a question for you guys, because for years I've been watching Paul Sellers, the English hand tool guy, but I've also been watching Rob Cosman. He's on the American side, and there's quite a bit of controversy about what your minimum number of hand planes are. With my age, the first plane, especially with the school woodwork shop, was a number 4. And I've got this very cheap, what's it called? It's a Magnuson that I've fettled so it's almost workable. So that's my number 4. Now, people like myself and my dad and Paul Sellers started on a number 4 and kept it on. And they can really, they say if there's one hand plane that you really need, it's a number 4. You don't need a number 5. You certainly don't need a block plane. You can make a number 4 sing and dance and do everything, and they demonstrate quite adequately. Paul Sellers can make this stand up and sing opera, both as a block. He used it for what you would use a block plane for a smoothing plane, and with a different cutter in for a jack plane, and for heavy hugging out, you can use that. Conversely, the likes of the other side to that is you use the jack plane, not number 4. Number 4 is a smoothing plane or for teenagers. A jack plane is a number 5, and it's big enough and heavy enough to do everything a smoothing plane can do, and everything a try and a 4 and a jointer can do once you've mastered it. They even say don't go for number 5, go for 5.5, which is a slightly wider cut, but to make it more versatile. Rob Cosman's a big exponent of this. Go for 4.5 if you have to, or 5.5. If you have one plane, go for the 5 or the 5.5, unless you're a sickly weed or very old or a girl. Well, that's all well and good, but I am old and I am lacking in my joints and my muscle mass, so I went for number 5. So, Quansheng, and I'll show you the unboxing in the background. Pull it out. I'm very enamoured of this. It took me about 12 months because they were on back order, and then I missed them, and then they were too much to fork out in a particular week, so that's why. Anyway, I'll be saving up, caught up with the supply, and the Quansheng number 5, and it really is very nice. It's flat. I've used the feeler gauge on the base. The sides, 5.5 would definitely be too heavy for me. I don't know what you guys think. I mean, in the modern machine shop, you're only using these things to touch things up. Nobody is going to joint and flatten a whole set of boards to make something by hand these days, unless they're making a point of it for YouTube, production wise. A 5 is about as much as I can manage. I know I'm going to the gym, guys, but I can't imagine doing anything more than a bit of light work with this. But the idea is that these 3, eventually I'm going to replace that. These 3 are going to go into, hopefully, an ochre walnut heritage at the chest, along with a set of nice chisels and some marking out and measuring thing, and maybe some sharpening stones. What do you think? Question for you guys: if you were making a list of, a minimalist list of tools for a hand tool woodworker, what would that list be? Put your comments in the bottom and I'll sift through them and use that as an aid memoir as we go forward. So that's that. That's enough for a tool haul Tuesday. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to put the comments on the minimal hand tool toolkit. I look forward to reading all those comments, and I'll catch you next time. I'm off for my cup of tea. You crack on in your workshops, guys. See you soon.